Welcome, guys, to How the Frack We Got Here, a show that takes the news and events of the week and try to make sense out of it all. I'm your host, the most Will Buchanan, and on this show, we simply are all about the facts. There are plenty of news stations out there that simply want to do anything short but inform you. Here at How the Frack We Got Here, that's all we believe in. We go up to the left, we go up to the right, we go up to the middle of independence, we go up to all sides because there's more than one side of a story to everything. And you need to know it all in order to actually formulate your own opinion. And that's what we try to do here at How the Frack We Got Here. Thanks for listening, and hold on. It's going to be fun.
And the Jedi Rebellion has been foiled.
What's happened?
The Chancellor's been elaborating on a plot by the Jedi to overthrow the Senate.
And the remaining Jedi will be hunted down and defeated.
The attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed. But I assure you, my resolve has never been stronger. In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society.
So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Today's date, November 6th, 2024, and this is How the Frack We Got Here. I'm your host, the most Will Buchanan. The Frack We Got Here. We do take the events of the week and try to make sense of it all. Before we get started, guys, let you know we are a news podcast. We do try to do our best to give you the most news from the most reputable sources with award-winning journalism. We don't do sensational news like Fox News, Newsmax, The Blaze, The Daily Beast, whatever extreme left or extreme right you get your views from. We simply do not follow them. We give you nothing but the facts, just the facts. At the same time, guys, there may be words that might fly, especially tonight. And at the same time, guys, there may be things that might be shown that might be too intense for younger viewers. So viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, how are we feeling? We all right? We okay? It's been a day. I'm not going to argue that. But if you're watching this and you're with me, I appreciate it. But really, guys, how are we doing? I'm going to be honest. I feel like Shabuzi, the fact that, you know, me and Jack Daniels got a history. We gonna have one tonight. Because Lord knows, I need a drink for this post-election special. But before I do get into that, guys,
Quincy Jones was.
Before I do get into that, what happened, what went wrong, and simply put, where do we go from here? There is a little bit of news that did happen in the middle of last week that we do need to address, that we did lose another music icon.
Born in Chicago in 1933 and was considered to be one of the greatest minds in music and television history. He found his love for music while enrolled in high school, where he met his friend and collaborator, Ray Charles.
Ray was like, wow, he was like God to me.
In the 1950s, Jones followed his passion, working as a trumpeter and conductor for Lionel Hampton's band.
I get misty.
And would go on to work with jazz greats, including Sarah Vaughan.
Come on and ease on down the road.
In 1978, Q, as he was called by friends, produced the soundtrack for The Wiz, where he met entertainment legend Michael Jackson. Jones decided to offer him a chance to record a song he was saving for Frank Sinatra, She's Out of My Life.
She's out of my life.
Their partnership led to Jackson's blockbuster Thriller album, which sold more than 100 million records worldwide. He was also the man behind the all-star charity single, We Are the World. Jones became the most Grammy-nominated artist ever, with with 79 nods and 27 wins. He also produced the film The Color Purple.
When I first met her, I said her future was so bright it hurts my eyes.
Quincy Jones will be remembered as a legendary music producer, record company executive, and humanitarian whose contributions touch nearly every sector of the entertainment industry.
Love, laugh, live, and give. That's what it's about.
Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
Well, definitely rest in peace to a music icon known as Quincy Jones, as he did pass away at 91. So definitely, sir, rest well and rest in power. Well, let's talk about it, folks. At this point, unless you've just basically been under a rock, tried to avoid social media, or just tried to avoid every white person that voted for him who was too happy to tell you about it, we did have our election. We have our election, and we now have a president-elect. For the first time in history, a convicted felon who is a fascist, racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, pretty much covered everybody that he doesn't like, is now about to become the 47th president of the United States. To a lot of our shock, and again, I'm kind of reminded of George Carlin. George Carlin said it best: never underestimate the stupidity of large groups. I'm going to be saying this a lot tonight. So if you are a Trump fan and you're easily offended, and somehow you're watching this podcast or listening to it, you're not gonna like me, because to really tell the truth tonight would be the fact that it's going to offend somebody, and the truth will always offend somebody, because everybody prefers those that want to hear a lie rather than actually hear the truth will always be offended. So throwing that out there, you're a Trump fan, you're not gonna like me. If you're a Jill Stein fan, you're not gonna like me, because that woman comes in to wreak disruption and then disappear as soon as the votes are done. But that being said, guys, yes, Dorito somehow, some way, because he leaned into those rural people of America who came in droves and voted. Keep in mind, this is before he talked about, they're going to try to screw me again. They're going to try to screw me in the election. They're going to try to, have illegals vote. They're going to have to do all these things and all these lies and BS that he has said. But the one thing that we can take away from this is that the State of the Union is going to look exactly like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of America! President Camacho! Shut up! Sit your monkey ass down. Chill out. Shit. I know shit's bad right now with all that starving bullshit and the dust storms and we running out of French fries and burrito coverings.
Yeah.
But I got a solution.
That's what you said last time, dipshit. I got a solution. You're a dick. South Carolina, what's up?
That's what I thought. Now, I understand everyone's shit's emotional right now, but listen up. I got a 3-point plan to fix everything. Number one, we got this guy not sure. Number two, he's got a higher IQ than any man alive. And number three, he's gonna fix everything. I give you my word as president. He'll fix the problems with all the dead crops. He's gonna make them grow again. And that ain't all. I give you my word. He's gonna fix the dust storms too. And I give you my word. He's gonna fix the economy. He's so smart. He's gonna do it all in one week.
That
President Camacho stood before the world and promised everyone that Joe would solve all their problems. He would not only end the Dust Bowl and heal the economy, but he would cure acne and car sickness as well. And if he didn't, President Camacho made another promise. He would kick Joe's smart balls all the way up to the roof of his smart mouth, and then he would throw his brainy ass back in jail.
You know, it's Idiocracy, but Idiocracy is no longer a movie. We are now living it. But understand that's what the State of the Union is going to look like. Because, again, Trump is going to basically he's going to bring back the old crew. And I mean everyone. Because they've all done their jail time. They're all currently out. And trust and believe, he is already reestablishing his cabinet. What I mean by that is, do you really want a guy like Elon Musk also in the presidential cabinet? A guy who hasn't invented anything and yet has bought everything. He didn't invent Tesla, he bought it. He didn't invent SpaceX, he bought it. He didn't invent Twitter, he bought it and turned it into something vile called X. And yet, because of him, and we can also say because of the douchebag Joe Rogan, because he did go on Joe Rogan's podcast, Joe Rogan has listened to millions of stupid white people. So again, it did have a hindrance in exactly him getting there. But don't think for a second that guys like RFK, Mr. Kennedy, that sounds like he always needs a throat lozenge, he's going to be put in front of health directives. I'm sorry, a guy who's had brain lesions, who's driven with dead animals on his car, will now be leading the U.S. possibly in health and healthcare directives. I'm a little concerned, but then again, I didn't vote for him. And this is probably going to be sounding a lot like this because, again, what happened? Well, simply put, this is what happens when we need to address some elephants in the room. What I mean by that is, when I say address some elephants in the room, guys, I mean, the simple fact of the matter is that we need to look at the exit polls. Now, for all those that are wondering what I'm getting at, I'm about to show you. So, with the exit poll that I really want to focus on, and I hate to say it, it's sex by race. The reason why I want to point this out, guys, because in sex by race, for all those that voted, for the white men and white women of America, white men, 60% of white men voted for Trump. 53% of white women voted for Trump. Latino men, 55% voted for Trump. And 38% of Latino women voted for Trump. Now, all other races, again, a combined 46%. Here's the problem that I have with this, is because there was some chatter going around about black men not voting in this election, which, if you haven't noticed, 77% of black men voted for Kamala Harris. 21%, for some odd effing reason, voted for Trump. Black women, 91%, the largest demographic of black women, voted for Harris. 7%, for some odd reason, voted for Trump. What am I getting at here? Well, what I'm getting at here, guys, is just that, well, for lack of better words, I blame. And I say the blame of what happened is that white men came out and saw their majority becoming a minority. White men decided, you know what? We're going to listen to Trump because we don't think a woman should be president. And I'm not saying that from a sexist standpoint, because a lot of white men believe that. Not just some white men, some black men too, believe that a woman should not be president, or a woman can't be president, or a woman is too emotional to be president, which, I'm sorry, and forgive me for lack of better words, that's a huge crock of shit. A woman can run a household, she can run a business, she can do everything a man can do. And she can also run for office. If a woman wasn't capable of being president, well, let's also be honest. We've had 46 presidents now that were all males, and not all of them were qualified to be president. Some of them were given to them. Some of them were given the presidency as a graduation gift. I'm looking at you, Bush. But the thing I'm getting at is here is just that for white men and for the women that voted for Trump, you're all idiots. I have never seen, and I keep saying this is coming from a guy that lives in Tennessee, heavily red state. Vote every time an election comes around, definitely vote Democrat. But these are conservatives who believe that they are better off voting conservative. Like for example, I made this example out to somebody today. If you're in the South, you believe that you're voting conservative because you're always told to vote conservative, and therefore you never questioned it. You've been told. Just like if you go to school and you learn the Pledge of Allegiance. So you have to say the Pledge of Allegiance, guys, every morning. Turn to the flag with your hand over your chest, right hand over your chest. I pledge allegiance to the flag for the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. How many of you guys from grades kindergarten up until 6th grade, because I don't know if they still do it in 7th or 8th grade. It's kind of been a while since I've been in school. But I know for me, that was the norm. You get up, you turn to the flag, we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we have our moment of silence, we move on. Until 4th grade, for me, I was like, what in the world am I saying this Pledge of Allegiance for? Into what? Into whom? We find ourselves saying words that we do not know the meaning of, not knowing the understanding of, and yet we're pledging to this flag as if it was the standard. This is me in 4th grade. Why are we doing this? Everybody else, I pledge allegiance to the flag. Continued. The reason why I point this out, guys, is that unfortunately in rural states, if you really want to be honest, if you look at the red states and education, there's a correlation there. But the simple fact of the matter is, those in the red states, their education is lacking or missing. Pretty much, Republicans love dumb people. Republicans hate critical thinking people. Critical thinking people do not always vote conservative. Those that are systematically programmed will. So what am I saying about white men? White men look at this and go, for the longest time, they've probably been told, oh, a woman can't do this. And some white women believe that a woman can't do it. So instead of them uplifting their gender, they rather sit there and put them back in traditional roles. Hence why we've seen the voting that just happened. White men and white women do what they do best, or at least a good majority of them. Because again, there were 37% of white men and 45% of white women that did vote for Harris. So I can't say all of them. So understand when I sit there and say napkins, napkins is the term I use to express my disdain for those type of white people. You napkins. But I will say one thing to you napkins. When you realize you voted against your own interests, when you realize that what you thought was sweet is really just poison waiting to get your ass. When all that happens to you, don't come crying to us, a la black men and black women. Why? We voted for a person that was qualified. You voted for the felon who is now going to do his second act. And like we've said on this podcast before, his second act is going to be way worse than the first one. But we'll get into the meat of those in a momentarily. But I can't also forget Latino men and Latino women, because I'm going to be honest with the two of you that vote the Latino men for 55% and Latino women that voted 38%. I'm surprised, considering the fact that J.D. Vance that's wrong, that Trump literally went to Puerto Rico and basically called it a crap country, treated it as such. The comedian that he brought on during one of his rallies made a joke about Puerto Rico being a trash city. And yet, for Latino men and women, literally a week, 2 weeks before the actual election, 2 weeks, before the election, I'm just thinking to myself, oh, you just pissed off every Latino person out there because you basically sat there and said, y'all ain't shit. And I'm thinking to myself, it's just like when Trump was proud of Roe versus Wade basically being dismantled. And he sat there and said, I'm proud of it. I'm happy I had a hand on it. And then turn around and try to tell ladies, I'll be your protector. I'm sorry. The only thing Dorito is going to be protecting is the last Big Mac ever created. That's the only thing his defense is going to be good for. But what's crazy about it, he insulted women. He insulted Latino women. He insulted Latino men. And yet a good majority of those diverse groups voted for him. So just like the napkin men and women, you Latino men and Latino women that did vote for Trump, when he decides this mass deportation plan, which trust me, it's going to be good and bumbled and fumbled, documented and undocumented people are going to be swept up in this, and then you're going to be looking for help. And I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to be like, you get what you voted for. So what am I getting at here, guys? That for this election, black men and black women have stepped up. Black men, I love the fact you guys have stepped up because, again, it was always brought about the fact that, hey, you guys, we need you to help get Madam Vice President in office. And black men stepped up. It was going to be this narrative the narrative that some people believe that black men failed or didn't vote enough. And I'm like, we are a single voter base, considerably large, yes. But it's going to take more than us to elect somebody in office. Now, again, don't believe that. That just happened with the exit polls. Because, yes, white men and white women did vote. The good majority of them did vote for Trump. Also, Latino men and Latino women also voted for Trump. Other ethnic groups voted for Trump. So what does that tell us? That tells us that it took more than just them. But again, for white people, I'm not surprised. For Latino men and Latino women who I guess see themselves being more assimilated to white folks, you guys are going to get a rude awakening one day. And like I said, it will not hit home for you guys what has happened until it hits home. So we're going to see, because again, I don't want to hear spit from those 4 ethnic groups out there. If anything happens to you guys, go call Trump. You voted for him. And trust me, worse is coming along. But there is 2 things I did want to point out there. I mean, like I said, we have to find some silver linings in this. We do. And the silver lining I found, guys, was abortion rights. Just to point this out really quickly, 7 states had voted to protect abortion rights, while others expand the access to abortions, to get an abortion in Florida, Nebraska, and South Dakota. Now, the 7 states in general that where abortion rights are protected: Montana, Nebraska, Colorado, Nevada, Arizona, Missouri, New York, and Maryland. Now, for those expanding it, that's going to be the hard one because they are expanding access, which means that Florida, South Dakota, and the parts of Nebraska, because Nebraska, for some odd reason, is divided into District 1 and District 2, will probably expand access. But right now, as you can see, the vote's still coming in. So it's a small lining because abortion rights was the big thing. Madam Vice President Harris wanted to have those codified. There's always that talk of Democrats was kind of holding the ball on when they had the chance, but let's be honest. And I point this out because people think like, well, the Democrats had all this time to codify abortion rights. Here's the problem. They didn't have the House. They did have the Senate with Madam Vice President being the tiebreaker. But we've seen from senators like Senator Joe Manchin and Ms. Harris out of Arizona. I'm sorry, Senator, I forgot her name already. Let's just say I need to go talk with the Arizona Business of Commerce before I make decisions. That senator. Because you had 2 senators there that were wishy-washy, And because you were putting this all through a simple process to where you had to have all 50 of your party on board, it was going to be hard. And so, again, I can understand why they decided not to do it, because it may have been down the floor. Because, again, with aging Biden, which, again, we didn't know he was on his way out. And, again, much credit has to be given to Kamala Harris. Why? She ran a campaign with 100 days. She was literally sidetracked with 100 days to run a campaign against a guy who literally had a 1.5 year head start. And to get that close to being in the presidency is remarkable. But again, white people did what white people usually do. And of course, Latinos who think they're white and others who think they're in that same headspace will vote exactly along with them. But again, don't call us when Trump screws you. Just be like Stormy Daniels and take it and then sue later. But another thing, because people are asking, how was Trump able to vote? Well, this is why. Florida's laws are ass backwards. Keep in mind, Trump was convicted this year. Felons can't vote, as conservatives love to say. However, since Trump moved from New York to Florida, Florida law, if a voter has an out-of-state conviction, Florida law defers to that state on how a felon can regain their voting rights, which, unfortunately, there is a law in New York that was actually done in 2021 that allows felons to vote as long as they're not serving their incarceration term at the time of the election. Ergo, loophole. That's how convicted felon Trump was able to vote in this election, because a lot of people were asking that question. But here's the one thing I did want to get to, the meat of the matter, is because, guys, if you don't know, you're not going to know. And at the same time, you really, really, really need to pay attention, because, like I said, the second act, now that, once Trump takes office in January, the second act is going to be way effing worse. What I mean by that is that this little thing that we were talking about not too long ago on the podcast called Project 2025, where everybody's like, oh, well, Trump's not going to do that. He's tried to distance himself away from 2025. Have you seen Agenda 47? Yes, it's Project 2025 Light. The reason why, guys, and I'm trying to be very nice about this, because I see how if you don't think when Trump talks, you're hooked. If you think about it, then you're going to be like, this guy's full of shit. The reason why Trump had turned around and sat there and said, hey, so when I'm president, all server tips will not be taxed. All servers and those working in the service industry, hey, our taxes won't be tipped. That's cool. He also sits there and says, hey, if you work overtime, your overtime pay will not be taxed. People that work a shitload of overtime, hey, so you're telling me the money I make at the double rate is not going to be taxed? That's more money in my pocket. Well, all right. He also sat there and said Social Security and Medicare payments will also be exempt from taxes. Those that receive Social Security payments and Medicare payments are loving that. It's more money in their pockets. So let's think about what I just said right there. Servers can keep their tips tax-free. Those that work overtime, any money made or any hours worked during overtime, those are tax-free on the paycheck. Social Security and Medicare payments also exempt from taxes. My friend, you have basically covered mostly all three areas of your voter demographics. Because I'm not gonna lie, who wouldn't like the fact that you have a little bit more money in your pocket, whether it's tips, overtime, or Social Security? But here's the problem. Because keep in mind, taxes fund the government. Taxes keep the government running. And unfortunately, if you're not collecting taxes from those three areas, well, Trump, how are you going to pay for these tax breaks? Oh, well, it's a very fine question. We're going to introduce tariffs. Again, we're doing this again. We're doing this again. Let me make sure I'm understanding this right. This one time, at this one point in this idiot's president's, in the idiot's first president's term, he called himself a tariff man. And he sat there and said he wants to, within his first 100 days of office, input tariffs on imported products that are not created or sold. I'm sorry, not created by American companies. So here's the problem. And I'm going to use this as an example. Say this is let's just say this is Starbucks. Let's keep it simple. Say this is Starbucks, right? Okay, let's just say it's coffee. Let's just say your average Starbucks cup of coffee, depending on your additions or whatnot, let's just keep it basic. A basic cup of coffee from Starbucks is, let's just say $7, right? $7 of coffee from Starbucks, and a lot of people are gonna say that's way higher. I know, just go with the analogy. So anyway, you pay your $7 for your Starbucks, for your cup of coffee. Let's just say it costs Starbucks out of $7, it costs them maybe $3 to $4 for them to make a cup of coffee, right? Because the beans and everything else, they're getting imported. So because they're getting imported from another country, if you listen to this idiot who wants to put tariffs on everything, the beans, the other materials that come with this, those prices on Starbucks that have to, for Starbucks to bring that in the country and use it, because it's not from an American source, the price increases. So here's the thing that people don't get about tariffs. Tariffs are not paid by foreign countries. Tariffs are paid by those American countries that purchase from foreign companies on top of what they already pay. So Starbucks, let's just say, Starbucks was probably paying, let's just say $3 to $5 for every cup of coffee they're making off of for the materials. But now you have tariffs, those prices have increased. So let's just say now for Starbucks for them to pay $3 to $5 for every cup of coffee they make off those materials, let's just say those materials have ballooned to $10 to $15. So now Starbucks still got to make profit because their cost of their materials increased, the cost of production increased. Where are those savings going to go? Right back to you, Mr. Consumer. That $7 Starbucks coffee has now become $18. Why? Because they're passing along the cost of the tariffs and still got to make money to you. Enjoy, because that's what's going to happen. Because if they decide, and trust me, they will, that tariffs get implemented, it is not going to offset the taxes that would have been collected from tips, from overtime pay, from Social Security and Medicare payments. It's not going to offset it. Why? Because the whole idea of tariffs, according to Dorito, was that he is trying to force manufacturing or trying to forcefully grow manufacturing back in the US, because that'll create jobs, that'll bring back American products. And I laugh because Trump is a failed businessman. Underscore in capital letters, failed. This man has spent so much time in bankruptcy court, he should have his own jersey hanging up in the rafters. This man who wants to induce tariffs bankrupted a casino. How that doesn't register in people's minds, I will never know. He bankrupted a casino. Something that nobody should be able to do, because the foolproof plan of a casino is the house always wins. Well, not with Trump. He bankrupted it. But now he wants to introduce tariffs as a way of forcefully creating American production to come back to the US. Not understanding that the world of materials, processing, goods, and services is international. I've said it best. You're going to have a hard time competing with the Far East, with China, with Japan, with Malaysia, with India. These countries have gotten certain markets cornered and down to a T. You are not going to beat, let's just be honest, you're not going to beat China on manufacturing when they've cornered it. They control the labor rate. They control their people. And at the same time, how they're able to ship things out at the speed they do is not going to really slow down anytime soon. And what Trump also forgets is that America used to be an exporting country as far as goods and services. We've switched to consumerism and now become importing. 90% of what America usually uses outside of food is imported now. And Trump wants to put tariffs on that, which ergo prices go up. Hello, inflation. You go right back into third gear. And the feds and the Federal Reserve, which are meeting this week, may turn around and say, we're not going to cut it. Inflation is still there. We're not cutting rates. We may actually increase it. So again, it's amazing to me that his tariffs, which he wants to do, will cause more hell than help. Oh, and I'm not done. The corporate tax rate, which currently is at 21%, Trump wants to take it down to 15%. Corporation tax rates at 15% will be way more than what the personal income tax is, which is right now, I think, is at 37%. So let's think about this for a second. As I've said before, had Trump institute his tax plan, which, by the way, is still in effect, supposed to expire this year, he wants to make them permanent. Corporations love this. It's Christmas for them. Rich people love this. It's Christmas for them. But again, for you white men and white women and Latino men and Latino women that decide to vote for this idiot, I hope you like tax. I hope you like giving more tax time, because that's what's going to happen. Corporations are going to pay less or next to nothing. We, the middle class, are going to be paying more. At the same time, nothing will change. Everything will increase. Prices will increase. And then I guarantee all of you will still be complaining, not realizing it's your fault. And that's just his tax plan. If you really want to be honest, let's think about everything else that he said. The mass deportation plan. Now, I know I downplayed this because this is the same guy that said, I'm going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay. We're going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it, while Mexico is sitting there laughing at us. Mexico's like, you can build a wall you want to, but you think we're going to pay for shit? That ain't happening. So, again, he wants this mass deportation of illegal, undocumented people from our country. I just have one question about this, because I said this before in a podcast for him, that he wants to do this mass deportation. And I said to people all the time, these are the same people that believe the government is coming for their guns. And I said before, to literally go after everybody's firearms in the U.S. would be such a massive undertaking that the current staffing, even if you throw in the Army, the National Reserve, and the National Guard, you still will not have enough to be able to pull this off. At the same time, how? The logistics of that undertaking would be massive and costly. At the same time, I tell people all the time, especially homosexuals out there, nobody cares about your tricked out $1,500 Bass Pro Shop assault rifle when the government has access to way better shit than what's sitting in your gun locker. Let the dream go. But mass deportation is more possible because, again, that's what Trump ran off of. He ran off of fear mongering. Oh, they're sending their people from their prisons. They're terrorists. They're rapists. They're this. They're that. They're bringing in fentanyl. He said everything and anything for fear mongering. And now, let's see what he does. I mean, come January, will he follow through with it? Because I still believe that documented people get swept up in the system just because Trump is going to try to utilize everybody, including the army. Which is why I'm glad I'm not serving, because if you're then telling me that we are forcefully removing people from their homes because the president said so, would be the first time that I'd sit there and say, yeah, there's a reason why I can't do it, and it's because of that idiot. At the same time, guys, not just the mass deportation. This man has said multiple times he wants to dismantle the Department of Education. He wants to dismantle the Department of Education, saying that states should run their own education system. Let me tell you how bad of an idea that is. Because if we leave it up to the states to run their own education system, you will see more homeschooled, more private school getting public school funding than anywhere else. The reason why I say that, my home state of Tennessee, Trump-loving idiot, Bill Lee, decided to bring up the idea that we're going to introduce the school voucher, school choice program again because it failed miserably in the assembly hall for Tennessee. And now this dumbass of a governor wants to bring it back because he says parents are telling him they want to be able to send their child to the school their choice. And he's saying with the school voucher, you'll be able to. But no one actually questions one thing about school vouchers and school vouchers, because this is what Republicans do so well. When Republicans want something, they'll either basically overtake it or crumble it to the point to where they can privatize it. Public funding is going to public funding is for public schools. That's how it should be. Private schools have the tuition. You want your child to go to this private school, you pay the tuition. Private schools are now looking at public funding and going, we can get this. So what do? They just snuggle up to their Republican buddies and say, can you introduce school choice so these parents can start sending their kids here so we can take the funding? Because that's what happens. Those vouchers take away public funding for public schools. And because of that, public schools suffer. Overcrowdedness, less teachers, the education that's being taught there is being taught to read a test, not for critical thinking. It'll be so bad that Republicans will sit there and say, well, why don't we just privatize it? Because apparently the way we're going about it, they will destroy something so bad and pretend like they're not the ones that basically, that didn't start the fire. You will burn public education down to the ground, but you're sitting there holding the matches. Not only that, let's take away public schools. You dismantle the Department of Education by FAFSA, by government funding, by Pell Grants, the things that some students from middle and lower classes need to actually go to college. Without those things, college is pretty much out of reach, because FAFSA and student loans, and I hate to say it, student loans themselves, because student loans don't go away once the Department of Education is dismantled. You know what happens? Those student loans more than likely get picked up by a private company, because again, these same companies that did student loans and other banks and whatnot, they're the ones that pressured Republicans to basically say, no, we don't want Joe Biden at the time to forgive student loan debt. And so now that Trump is basically coming back in the fold January 3rd, if he does follow through, that's going to be a big problem, because again, him dismantling the Department of Education will affect public schools, will affect those that want to do higher learning in colleges, and at the same time leaves a lot of young Americans really without a path to basically making a living. And that's a problem, because he believes that that's right and people cheer him for it. That is again, I can't stress this enough. This con man only loves, and you notice this con man that only did one debate with Harris, hasn't done a debate with her since, really avoided a lot of interviews outside of his safe spaces at Fox News, because Fox News is a safe space, and has said all these things. And I literally scratched my head and wonder how people miss this. Also, at the same time, he said he wants to be a dictator from day one. How do people miss this? Because keep in mind, I also sat there and said, with his tax plan, with what he wants to do with education, the fact that he wants to dismantle the Department of Education, the fact that he wants to dismantle, really make it harder for your kids to go to college, he also wants to go after media. He sat there and said, if it was up to him, he would love to have ABC, CBS, and NBC News off the air. Why? because they don't do what Fox News does. Blow smoke up his ass, jerk him off, and tell him he's great. Because Trump has a fragile ego, which again, I find it funny that these are the same people that voted for him saying a woman is too emotional. Trump throws a doggone tantrum almost every week. And again, he's 80 plus years old. The same person that told Joe Biden, you are too old to be running for Congress. Well, you're not exactly a spring chicken yourself. And yet, when people talk bad about him, he wants them removed, he wants them fake news, or flat out he wants them jailed. And let's not also forget, him following Project 2025, he still wants to eliminate climate change, which means that the study into climate change and those are looking into it, he wants to sit there and say, well, climate change is a hoax. The earth is cooling, not warming, because he follows what other science hacks say instead of the entire 90% of the scientific community that sat there and says climate change is real. And if something isn't done within the next decade or so, it'll be irreversible. But again, that idiot Dorito would rather listen to Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and others and sit there and say, no, that's not true. We're not going to do it. We're going to get away with it. It's just wasting money. This is also the same guy that wants to take the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or the NOAA, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, because FEMA just recently helped out with hurricane damage across several states. And he was the one touting the facts about FEMA not, helping people, FEMA giving $750 out because that's all they can do, or that FEMA is broke and things of that nature. He spread those lies. And now, if you follow Project 2025, he wants to dismantle that too. So again, what are we getting at here? We just scratched the surface. We didn't talk about the fact that Trump would love a Supreme Court full of MAGA judges that will do his bidding. We did not talk about Trump really wanting to crack down on abortions to be able to track women through a system. We didn't talk about that either. But again, me talking about the tariffs that are coming his way if he has his way, me talking about him putting taxes on, basically taking away taxes, but come tax time, you will be paying more, knocking the corporate rate down to 15%, which means that corporations will pay way less than you guys because we'll be paying more in taxes than corporations will. Dismantling FAFSA, dismantling the Department of Education, saying that climate change and all the associations that are going with it, including the EPA, he wants to get rid of that too. And that's the crazy part, that hearing all of that, people still voted for him in droves. People still voted for him. White women and white men, Latino men and Latino women, a good majority of them all voted for this idiot. And let's get to the heart of the matter before I actually get to what'll happen with court cases. And I'm going to say this again. And you can stop watching this podcast. Doesn't matter to me because I'm tired of tiptoeing around it. If you voted for Trump, and I say this all the time, if you voted for Trump, Trump is a racist, a fascist, a sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. He is definitely the creeper of all politicians this side of the Mississippi. And with that being said, if you voted for this man, you are the same as he is. I was always told a long time ago, show me who your friends are and I'll show you the real you. And Trump, as I've said before in this podcast, is the makeup remover of this country. Because this country itself is literally built on white males. White males who feel like they could be the majority. White women who basically will vote for their own, against their own interest. And then you have other races of people that see themselves and forget where they come from and decide to, vote along with the lines of white folks because they feel they're in the same basis as them. That's how it would happen with Trump. But if you did vote for him, forgive me if I say, number one, you're an idiot. I'll also call you a racist. I'll call you a fascist. I will call you a sexist because a lot of people who did not vote for Harris for the sole reason, not because she's qualified, she is, not because she ran for office, she did, not because she became vice president, she also did. It's because they see her and say, oh, well, she's a woman. A woman can't be president. And I just think to myself, how effing backwards can you be? 50 plus different sovereign states out there all currently have women as their leader, whether it's Madam Prime Minister or Madam President. That is 50 plus different sovereign states. Even New Zealand, which currently has a prime minister who is a woman. I don't see any countries burning. And again, this is just me saying this. A woman can be president, because if we're sitting there, again, from the Republican Party, because they love to do this, Republican parties love to sit there and say, we want to protect our women. Even the platform they ran on was keeping transgender players from playing women's sports, because we want to protect our women. Cool. So that means that you'll fight for abortion laws and allow women to maintain over their own bodies to where government regulation is an intervention. No, we just don't want guys pretending to be women playing along with women in the same sport. That's bullshit. You can't sit there and cherry pick and choose where you want to defend women. Whereas, again, women should be able to do it. Women are capable of everything. I'll be honest, I'll be a little bit more specific, especially black women. Black women are capable of anything and everything. And what's more scary about this to them is that they don't want to face the fact that they're sexist. Because this is the second time we've had a woman that was very qualified, who had to be damn near perfect, who had to be flawless, who had to answer every question right. That is effing pressure. And Madam Vice President Harris did that with grace. Whereas Dorito, I don't really have a plan. I had the concepts of a plan. He didn't have anything. This man was so flawed versus a Madam Vice President who had to be flawless. She was not given the extent of grace that was given to that idiot. It was almost like, yeah, we know he's stupid. Yeah, we know he's old. Yeah, we know that, all this It's like you acknowledged everything wrong with this man and still voted for him. There's no excuse. Oh, well, he said he's going to make America great again. Every time I hear that, I just want to sit there and go, how? When was America great? Because I'm going to be honest with you, not to take this from the newsroom, but guys, in the history of the world, there is no evidence out there that proves that America is the greatest country in the world. Not if you look at our education, not if you look at our economy, not if you look at not if you look at other key demographics. Because the only thing I know we excel in is incarcerated people. We excel in prisons because 90% of our prisons are always remaining at full. We excel in something, but not education, not economy. We do have sports because, let's be honest, sports is lucrative here. But there is no evidence to suggest that America is the greatest country in the world when we are solely behind, extremely backwards, and we shouldn't even saying the word progressive, even if we have progressive insurance. The thing about it is, when we selected Trump, well, I shouldn't say we selected, when a good amount of idiots selected Trump, this is what fucking happened. And trust me, when it comes to his cases, the cases that we thought that were going, like, we said this the whole time, especially when he got convicted of, this is the guy that got convicted of mortgage fraud in Manhattan, was actually supposed to be sentenced sometime next week, November the 12th. So what is actually happening with these 4 original cases? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. He's the president. So you know why? Because it is the sitting opinion of the Attorney General not to indict a sitting president. Opinion, which they treat as law. I wish they didn't. I think that he should still face the thing of his cases, whether he's president or not. Because again, he is a felon. He's already been convicted in one case for his Manhattan mortgage fraud. He still, well, I should say, had his Georgia election fraud case, to where he whined, he cried, he pushed back, and they knew what they were doing, which I hated. The judges, Trump appointed, by the way, allowed the pushback, because they pushed back his case, because for guys don't remember, he tried to go after the DA in Georgia, saying that her relationship was an abuse of power. They actually had a whole freaking trial about this. Come to find out, they didn't have anything. But the judge, being Trump appointed, said, oh, well, you still got to let your lead prosecutor or you go. Otherwise, this case ain't going nowhere. They whined, they cried, they appealed, reappealed, and this case got pushed back to a point to where Trump knew what he was doing. His lawyers knew what they were doing. That they pushed this case back right in the crosshairs of the election. So if he did win the presidency, guess what? That case disappears. His case in Florida with the documents that he kept, because his dumbass thought he could declassify them, also got pushed back. Actually got thrown out at one point because the judge appointed person there, who was Trump appointed, threw out the case. So those 4 cases, along with other civil cases going on, have now been pushed back. And a lot of people are going, how is this possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. Because before Biden and Harris were sworn in, Judge Trump had made sure that his list of circuit judges was pushed through and appointed. And you can say what you want to say. I'm going to go ahead and call it. If Trump appointed those judges had one job and one job only. If they did wind up in their courtroom. And what I mean by that is, if they wound up in his courtroom, 9 times out of 10, they were basically going to give Trump a pass. And lo and behold, 4 court cases, any one of them could have disqualified him from running for president, should have disqualified him. And what happened? All of them got pushed back beyond the election. And mark my words, come January 3rd, because he can basically fire the current AG and bring in his own. You don't think for one second that those cases, in some form or fashion, he's going to try to pardon himself from. He's going to try. The president can't pardon himself, but he's going to try. But that also being said, guys, before we get to our feel-good segment, again, I point this out. When you look at the fact that 60% of white men, 53% of white women, 55% of Latino men, 38% of Latino women, you fucking idiots are the reason why this man is elected. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you believe a con man who has filed for bankruptcy multiple times, you think he's the best person to run this economy, you are fucking stupid. And I'll stress it again. You are fucking stupid. Take it how you will. If you're offended, be offended. Because now, whatever happens next, it's on you guys. I refuse to blame black men and black women, because black women, 91% of you came in and showed out. To black men, 77% of you guys came in and did what needed to be done. Other races, 48%, came in what needed to be done. Even you white men and white women, you 45% people, even you Latino men and Latino women, the 43% of men and the 6% of women, I give you credit. But it's the other side, those rural farmers, which you guys are definitely going to get a rude awakening once those tariffs hit. But you guys are fucking idiots. And again, for the rest of the world, as we try to move forward, as we try to, get past the anger. I know for a lot of people today, it was all about the whole thing of, I'm not going to talk to anybody today. Well, for me, I was like, I want the smoke. I do. Here's the thing about Trump people. Trump people are going to go into their private echo chambers. I know they have today. I know they did, because very few of them went on Facebook publicly and said, I am so happy that America made the right decision. Because you know what will happen? You'll get known. The world will see you for what you truly are. And for a lot of Trump people, they're not that brave. So I don't expect a lot of Trump people to ever see this podcast. And if they do, they'll probably downplay it as a guy that, well, you can go back to Africa. Or like what happened earlier on Facebook where a guy, from Tennessee tried to say, well, there's vacancy in New York and California. I'm sure you can get a U-Haul for dirt cheap. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so funny. Maybe you should go back to the nursing home that lets you out and increase the dosage. The thing I'm getting at here, guys, is yes, the next 4 years are going to be challenging. I said it before not to induce fear, but Trump's second act is going to be damaging. He could pull U.S. from support Ukraine. He could try to pull the U.S. again from NATO. He could try to invite Putin again to the White House. He could try. At the same time, he might start his love letter with Kim Jong-un all over again. The thing about it is, guys, this is why I say it's important for us to get involved. No longer can we sit there and, complain about the lesser of two evils. We can't sit there and complain about the choices we've been given because the other side figured out they can run, they can get elected, they can get in Congress, they can wreck shit, and they can still get paid for it. We cannot keep depending or hoping for something to happen unless we act. Whether it's local or at the federal level, we must act, and we must act now. Because trust me, the next generation of the tiki torches and white polos from Target, they're the ones that voted for Trump. Trump has figured out a whole new audience to get in touch with. It's another audience that he can influence, and it's another audience that can pretty much prevent us from actually being progressive, as we say. But again, to all those that voted for Trump, you are fucking stupid. You are fucking sexist. You are a fucking racist. You're also xenophobic and homophobic. And the fact that you decide to vote for Trump knowing all these things tells me you're exactly the same, except that you may not be in an area influential enough to tolerate it and say what you want to say. That's why you always lean on the fact of, I'm offended because you think I'm dumb because I voted for Trump. Nope, you are dumb. You're just mad that somebody else pointed it out. But we're gonna move on to our feel good pod. We're gonna move on to our feel good segment because Lord knows we need one. And hopefully this one will actually do here, because for a guy who has taken on the role of being a brother and a parent, this man deserves all the flowers.
Academics and athletics are hard enough, but after losing his mom, Omarion Smith, he took on the responsibility of being a legal guardian for his 4 siblings. And here is his story. Michigan State defensive back Omarion Smith embodies strength on and off the field. The 21-year-old criminal justice major and his 5 younger siblings lost their mother to breast cancer less than 3 months ago.
My mom was very strong, very hardworking. She stood on morals, principles. She was my protector. She was an amazing woman.
Fulfilling the promise he made to his mother, Gayla, before she passed away, Smith has become legal guardian to his 4 youngest siblings, 16-year-old Armand, 15-year-old Yvonne, 11-year-old Ariel, and 3-year-old Amira.
If I don't step up, who can they turn to? I'm just happy we all together. It's the biggest thing. I'm going to be their protector.
While he manages 12-hour days on campus, 19-year-old sister Aleon helps at home.
He's a good man. He's doing right by us. And I've gained a lot of respect for him because he stepped up and did something that none of our fathers could.
No tap.
The family, relying on donations from a GoFundMe to pay the bills and get them around without a car. While losing their mother hasn't been easy, they all agree Omarion has stepped up when they needed him most.
No matter what I do, he always trying to make sure I'm going in the right direction always.
Whether it's advice for the classroom or the football field.
Taught me everything, how to tackle, how to run the ball, all that.
I always looked at Maury as a role model too, because he went to college. I was gonna go to college too. He taught me how to do math. I'm good at it now, real good.
And creating happy memories for the youngest. He says it's their mother's voice encouraging him to keep going.
She's still here in spirit. All the blessings we've been having is this, like all the stuff she ever wanted. She just working miracles.
Amarion is here with his brother Armand, and we know your siblings. They're all at home. They're all watching, so let's wave to them. Hello, siblings. Yes, hello, everybody.
Miss you guys so much. Most definitely.
Yeah, all of you have such an incredible bond, especially after such a hard year. And I got to say, so inspiring for us to see this. And this is your first time in New York City. So what do you think? We came down here. You said this reminds you of being at your grandmother's house, except for now you're actually on that TV that you used to watch.
Yeah, you know, waking up early mornings on the weekend or whatnot, weekdays, you know. Just, you know, Good Morning America. My grandma watched the news, so you know, it just automatically pops up on her TV, you know, just, and then like being able to be here and all, it's just different, man. It's a blessing, you know, like very exciting.
Well, we're blessed to have you here with us, and we want to celebrate the love and the bond that you and your siblings you have with each other. So we got a little surprise for you. We have some friends at Cash App, and they wanted to help set up you guys for the future. So they are giving you a check for $40,000.
Thank you so much, man.
Is that going to help you guys?
Yeah, most definitely, man. This is a blessing. I want to thank Cash App for, you know, donating this to us. You know, everything helps. You know, it takes a village. So thank you so much.
But you know, we also know the first time in being in New York, you're really excited. And we're excited for the two of you. We're excited for your siblings who are at home watching. So we have another surprise for you, because we know there's so much going on. There's so much stress, so much everything. So our friends at Disneyland Resort, they saw your story and they wanted to give you a vacation to Disneyland.
Are you serious?
I'm serious about that. You're going to stay at a Disney Resort hotel. You're going to get to experience Disneyland Park, Disney California Adventure, and you can ride the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That's the new ride there. You get a chance to watch that, which is opening next week. All right, so just in time for you. And you just got your driver's license, I heard.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Because how do you get around right now?
You know, it's kind of hard, but like not really. You know, I pay for Ubers a lot. I'm trying to cut back on that, you know, because it's taking a lot of my money. And then
I can imagine that.
You know, I try to, you know, I got teammates or whatnot, you know, that look out for me. So yeah,
you got some good support there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of support there. You know, there's people that's around, like, you know, in the Spartan community that helps out as well. You know, so yeah, shout out to everybody that's been helping. You know, it's a blessing. You know, thank you so much.
Well, you're on GMA, right? Reminds you of growing up with your grandmother and all this stuff. And I got something else. Come on, man. Come on with me.
Oh, I'm following you.
Come on, follow me.
Okay.
Follow me. Let's go. We're going to go outside for a second because, oh, man, we know you spend so much on Ubers that we got one last surprise for you. Our friends, right? We reached out to our friends, our Detroit GMC dealers. And they decided that they wanted to give you this GMC Acadia. That's yours, my friend. That's yours. Get your family around.
Thank you so much, man. This is crazy, bro.
What? No, you can get in it. Go ahead, get in it, man. This is yours.
What?
Oh. Come on, your shotgun. Your shotgun.
What?
So how you feeling, man?
Man, there's not enough words in the world to explain. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just feeling I feel love, man. Like, this is ridiculous, man.
Well, we saw your story. You say you feel the love. We see the love that you show to your siblings and to everybody every day.
Sure.
So you're an inspiration to all of us. All of you are. You and your whole family. I know your siblings are watching. So we just wanted to help you guys as much as we can. And thank you to Disneyland, Cash App, and GMC. We were able to do that.
Thank you guys so much, man. Like, this is a blessing, man. Like, I wonder what my mom would be doing right now for this moment. Like,
well, we know your mom's proud of you. As you said in that piece, your mom is always with you.
Most definitely.
All right, and we're behind you 100% of the way, man. Woo! All right. Yeah. You know what? We appreciate these two so much. We love this story.
Yeah, definitely a story, because again, imagine being 21 years old, taking care of 4 siblings and playing college football and still going to classes. Shit. I give that man all the props in the world because that is a lot. I mean, I'm happy that he got 40K and got a car because he gonna definitely appreciate that car. Taking a person that loves cars. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this post-election special, guys, for 2024. Thank you all for watching, for liking, for commenting. If you made it around this long, because I know some people probably got ticked off, and that's okay. You gotta know who these people are. You gotta point them out. But before I do get out of here, some shameless plugs I usually do. I do want to start off with BlurStation.com. I keep talking about BlurStation.com. It is the table, the vehicle that we have our own content there to view for ourselves, to where our dollars go back into our pockets. Tubi is great, but the problem with Tubi is also owned by the same guys that own Fox, and Tubi is worth well over $100 million because of our viewership. We can do the same thing for us. If you go to Blur Station, to basically hit the Join Now button. Under the Join Now button, guys, select the Blurred's Eye View Offending membership. Pretty much anybody there, we would appreciate it. Of course, myself, Black Spartan, but anybody there, appreciate that. And then you would select the Offending membership. It's $10.99 a month to view Blur Station. $10.99 a month. After 36 months of paying $10.99 a month, you do have the option of owning a piece of Blur Station. Owning a piece of a media conglomerate is always a great thing and very easy to do. But definitely check out BlurStation.com, guys. Again, it is one of the many tables out there. There's plenty of room out there. And to quote Hellspawn Cosplay, you just simply need to make a plate. Also, check out APR TV. Always press recordtv.com. Again, where shows like mine can be seen. Also on the APR TV app, that's also on the Roku, so you can also view my face and my shows on there as well. Again, another vehicle to where content can be seen and to where we can enjoy ourselves. And again, you can't beat that with a stick. Definitely check out alwayspressrecord.com and APR TV on your apps. I keep pointing this out, guys, because again, I know we just got through with our presidential election. Within 2 years, we will be having the midterms. So we will be doing another shuffle for the House and the Senate again. If you believe that you can be great for office, go to runforoffice.org. It will tell you exactly what you need to do in order for you to figure out how to run for office in your city, in your state, whether it's local, whether it's a senator, representative. You can start here because, again, guys, I keep saying this. We need to be more active. If you have the time and you have the manpower and you have the drive to actually be a change, please go to runforoffice.org and begin the process on how you can run in your city and your state. Because trust me, what we're not doing, they are. Just point that out. Ask myself. Guys, you can find me black_Spartan 615 on the socials. I usually talk about everything, not just politics. Cool to talk to. Just don't be weird. I do not want to have to get to the point where I have to block people just because, again, doing weird stuff, talking about weird shit, not my thing. Just saying. At the same time, guys, I know I don't have my banner running, but there it is. But I did want to point out the banner. If you copy and paste that banner into your link, will take you to my link tree. There's YouTube and Facebook groups for all of my podcasts. Like, share, subscribe. It costs nothing but means everything, and we would certainly appreciate it as we're trying to grow this. As we're trying to grow these shows. So definitely like, share, and follow. Tell me about it if you like it. If you don't like it, tell me. I still want to know. But that being said, guys, with this post-election, I know a lot of things got said, a lot of things got done, a lot of things are in the air. And right now, it's more discomfort than comfort. I will say this, and I say what I would recommend people will do right now. Take some time out for yourself. Take some time out for yourself. Do something that makes you happy. Do something that makes you smile. Do something that clears the air. Do something that clears the mind. Because, yeah, Trump is going to be president. It sucks. It's terrible. I wish the Simpsons prediction would come along a lot faster than anything else. But you still have you. You still can affect change. You still can make a difference. You still matter. At the same time, guys, take some time out for yourself. De-stress however you want to. I'm not judging, but take some time out for yourself to reset, to refocus, because the last thing we can be right now is worn down and defeated. We must pick ourselves back up. We must refocus, for the fight isn't done. And who knows what will happen between here and 4 years. We just need to be ready. But that being said, guys, last thing I'll say about how the Frack We Got Here, it's all about staying informed. We try to give you all the information, allow you to make up your own mind, but we do provide a lot of perspective that goes along with it. We do better as society once we're basically informed. We're progressive. We try to move forward and making decisions now that we should have done back then, like electing our first black woman to the Supreme Court, electing our first one to the black woman to the Federal Board of Governors, and unfortunately, somewhere down the road, we may actually see a black Madam President. We don't learn from history. We are doomed to repeat it. That's what we keep asking ourselves. Why does everything go up at our paycheck? Why are we electing different politicians but still the same old game in Congress? And most importantly, how the frack we got here? Thank you all for watching. Again, guys, please take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll get out and we'll make it through this. But for you people that vote for Trump, fuck y'all.